because my father is back here in Birmingham. Actually, he's not far from where we are.
Well, good afternoon, good morning. We're not sure what time you are tuning in, but we are so glad that you are here. I am so excited. I'm your moderator today, and I'm Shelley Lane from More Than Conquerors Faith Church, and it's IMF, Incense Ministerial Fellowship. And we are doing a session on something a little unique. We're doing something on AI and social media, and we have what I understand to be a guru here. And he said, let's see, Ricky J. White Jr.
That is correct.
I got it right.
That is very much so correct. There's
Okay.
a senior, so we like to separate ourselves.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we are going to have an interesting conversation today in reference to AI, and I even want you to kind of talk about what AI is, but we're going to go there in a minute. Okay. But before we do that, I just want to welcome you all to this session. This is part of October, the Feast of Harvest. And our founder, Apostle Steve Green, is leading the charge in reference to bringing ministers together for purpose, for collaboration, and all of that. And this is just one session as part of IMF. Now, before you leave here, we're going to ask you to get something to write with, a pen or a pencil, and some paper so that you can take down some notes. But also, we want to make sure that you know how to get in touch with More Than Conquerors or IMF, and that is you can call us at 205-322-2644. If you want to get more information on IMF, on the ministers gathering, and even to be here nightly for our church sessions. All right, so we're so excited. We're going to get started with this Ricky J. White Jr., and I want you to just share a little bit about why you're here and what you're going to talk about, and I promise you I'm going to pull some stuff out of you, so let's get started.
All right. So first off, it's really, really good to be back here at More Than Conquerors.
Yes.
This was a place of, I want to say, mental refuge and restoration for me during COVID, because instead of being cooped up in the house, I had the great opportunity to be in this building, in this place, in this same stage, to help digitally bring the Word of God and praise and worship across to thousands of individuals every week, sometimes twice a week, depending on what the schedule was. So I would say for me, being back here in the building is awesome, but being back in a different capacity than once that I was. So in that capacity, it was to help technology through audio, video, using social media as an output. Now to be back in the transformation of where we're going from social media into what can be more called as AI or artificial intelligence, but bridging the gap between those two now.
I love the fact that you said that you were in the house during COVID. So you were here during a very pivotal time in terms of bringing social media, bringing the gospel to people. How would you say that that has continued since COVID? Has it gotten larger? Talk about that piece as well as what is AI?
I would say that since COVID, everyone that feared technology's evolution found a way to finally embrace it. Whether it lowered your facility's operational expenses from the cost that it takes to run 1,000 people in a room to maybe now you have 450 people in a room, but you have 10,000 viewers, which could increase your giving units, which could change the way you do ministry and impact outside the community. Social media transformed the way that a faith-based community anchor institution can engage with communities around an entire county and city, and no longer just with the residents that's within this radius of a few blocks. But artificial intelligence, to that note, is now the communication piece that moves it a little bit further. Artificial intelligence will allow a church or a community to move faster, further, sometimes without all the backlog that it once took to be that far advanced.
Talk about, if you would, Ricky, how artificial intelligence and social media has really transformed ministry. Whereas before it used to be just Facebook, we'd want to go on there for our individual lives, but now it really is content that's helping us to move the gospel. Will you talk a little bit more about that?
It's funny you brought that up. So originally in some of my notes that I developed, I was actually going to say that the scenario is this. Imagine you stream on a Wednesday night, okay? And Bible study is on YouTube, broadcast live on Facebook. AI could automatically go ahead and transcribe the message. It could translate it into 10 languages. Artificial intelligence could summarize the points for teen devotionals or transform it for individuals in different life cycles or centristic values. It can turn your quotes automatically into shareable graphics for Instagram or TikTok. And then it also could potentially create a chat bot that allows faith-based questions and answers to go through viewers throughout the course of the week based on that message.
So AI, social media, we're able to be nimble. We're able to do a number of different things just using one broadcast and one technique from artificial intelligence. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So think about it this way. Bible study, using that example. Bible study was the time in church where you came and unpacked your word, where you could learn a little bit more than what you got on Sunday. So Sunday got you through. Wednesday was to carry you through until you came back again. Imagine now you may have had a distraction, a difficult day. You have kids, all of these variables that are taking in place. With that unpacking with AI, it could have shortened the message for you. It could have called out some points for you that you may have been feeling from your personal journaling and brought items to you that made more sense. It could have unpacked the scripture a little bit differently than what you heard or gave you a variation of it. Artificial intelligence transforms the way we can process information based on where you are as a person.
So if you would talk about that, and I want to get into the fear factor for a second, because you know there's a fear factor there, right?
That too. I came prepared. Let's do it.
All right. So I'm a person that uses Chat GPT now.
Okay.
Okay. And that, for those of you all who know Shelley Lane and her inability to do modern technology, that's a huge step for me. But that has been transformational for me in terms of the things that I write. So let's talk about the fear factor, and then we'll go back to the good and the bad. Well, okay, no, let's do the good and the bad. Let's talk about how social media and AI can be extremely positive and extremely beneficial to the church and to the community. But let's also talk about the negatives, because where there's a good, there's an evil.
Okay, so in order to do that, let's unpack the basics.
Okay.
What social media is not, what artificial intelligence is not. First off, because you have a social media channel, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever talk, that doesn't mean anybody's listening or watching.
Wow.
So just because you post it online, it does not automatically ensure 1 million people hear, see, or connect with your message. Step one. Switch it over to artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence requires us to respect the first principle, which is human intelligence. Human intelligence existed before social media and before artificial intelligence, and we need human intelligence in order for both to function. So let me be technical as we move forward. The definition of human intelligence is the innate ability of people to learn, reason, understand, and apply knowledge in ways that involve emotion, morality, creativity, discernment, and social awareness. And that's just half of the definition. I encourage you to Google human intelligence while we're doing this, but when we get done. The minute we have basics of understanding with words, then we can begin to do 1 + 1 to get to 2, and then 2 + 2 into 4. That is where we have to start so we know what it is not. You cannot and should not just use artificial intelligence to solve everything if you have not applied human intelligence to the process. Most ministers, before they get up on a Sunday or a Wednesday, they study. They take time out to not just read their word, but they craft their message and their points, the same way we have points that we use as a baseline for today. Unless you tell it how you feel, what you think, and what you believe, the response that you get back when you query or ask a question to artificial intelligence may be too wild. You didn't give it any parameters.
So it sounds like, and again, I want to go back to the basics because, Ricky, clearly for someone who does not know, now your generation, and we won't go to age pieces, but there is a gap in terms of there's a technology gap. Would you agree with that?
I would say it's more than just a technology gap with generations.
It's a technology chasm.
There is a digital divide that is sweeping across America that is affecting everything that we see and or do. COVID was the exposer of it.
Wow.
The federal government at the time spent millions and billions of dollars trying to close the digital divide gap, but in that time period, we still haven't done enough. Remember this, in older times, the church was the baseline of community communication. In this time, in a digital world, the church has to be the leader of digital training and communication for its community as well.
That's good.
Therefore, we can decrease the digital gap or the antiquated conversations around technology because too many churches have this.
So let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about, and we didn't really talk about the fear piece because I do want to definitely go there.
Going.
Okay.
I just didn't want to scare them too bad.
Okay. All right, we're going there. All right. So hold tight. We are going. So let's talk about the gap for a minute. Now, we are here in IMF,
Okay.
Ensign's Ministerial Fellowship, and Pastor Apostle Green, his intent is to bring ministers together to be able to collaborate, to be able to fellowship, to be able to glean the word, but to be able to be parented, fathered, if you will, and covered. Many of the ministers are not the 20-year-olds, the 19-year-olds, the even 30-year-olds. They're the 40, 50, 60, 70 group. What are you saying to folks who don't know ChatGPT, who don't know AI, and they want to be able to craft their messages too?
Okay. All right, so we're going to go there.
Go.
Okay. This conference is professional development for a faith-based community. Let's use the corporate technical word. Therefore, no matter if you are an attorney, a CPA, or certain professionals, you have to go to these continuing education classes in order to maintain your professional status and credibility. In this case, for those faith-based leaders who are listening, let's unpack this. Artificial intelligence and technology for your congregation is a lifeline. You transitioned into social media because you were forced into it, not because you wanted to do it. You transitioned into wireless mics because you were forced to do it, not because you wanted to do it. Technology has always been the demarcation between societies. Okay? So if we're going to talk about why we need to do it, let's unpack these functions. From a ministry aspect, teaching using artificial intelligence can generate study guides, devotionals, and sermon illustrations. In real world, you can use ChatGPT, platforms like Claude, or even Gemini. Now, let me give you this. You can't do it with the free level. You have to pay for the premium plan. Not just for you, you need to go ahead and get the multi-user so it can work. We can talk offline about that if you need that. For the next phase, when we talk about evangelism, artificial intelligence can translate messages and support videos in multiple languages. From a pastor to a pastor, they share sermons. They share bullet points. Hey, Doc, I like that. I got to use that, Doc. So imagine that individual taking that information and transforming it at a little bit more speed. It is studying without 16 books. It's studying with your pen, your paper, your tablet, and your monitor.
So let's ask this question, because one of the things that you talked about was human intelligence. Does AI dehumanize to some degree what it took us years to learn, to comprehend, and even our own, if you're writing a sermon per se,
Okay.
you've got Ricky in it, I've got Shelley in it, I'm writing a sermon, and we're saying this to these pastors. Doesn't it take some of the humanness away from it? And wouldn't some people say, that's just laziness. You just don't want to study. Talk about that.
All right, okay, here we are. It can.
Hmm?
We're not going to act like it doesn't because I'm not advocating for a platform or a service, right? I'm advocating for a result that changes. The part that keeps it from becoming so dehumanized is your ability to feed it content. Like a kid. What do we do with a kid? I have a 19-year-old and a 6-year-old. We have to feed it content. We feed it information. We feed it variables. So for a pastor, for a minister, for a praise and worship leader, for someone that works in church administration, the more information you feed your repository within your artificial intelligence, the more it can pull back to you. But that also means when you feed it, my favorite color is blue. My favorite artist is this. I love watching sports. My favorite scripture is this. The first thing I learned when I was a kid was boom. If you give it human variables and you put parameters in place, the dehumanization can decrease, but you still have to read and you still have to apply. But the ability to pivot on the fly changes.
You said something very unique. You said feeding it content.
Yes.
One of the things that I've learned in my chat GPT journey. Journey. This has been a journey. And again, I'm of the older group, so it's been a journey for me. But I will say this, that the more I feed it, the more I get afraid. You know too much about me. And I think that I've heard, even in the younger generation, and this is real, everybody, the younger generation is using this for below the millennials, even some of the millennials. But many of them are using AI to dictate their lives. Many of them are using, I've heard young women, as a matter of fact, say, I asked ChatGPT, why am I still single? Because they put so much information in. My favorite color is blue. My desire for a man in my life is this and that. So millennials and below are using it for crafting their lives. That's scary to me. Talk about that, because we're not just talking about women who are outside or men who are outside. We're talking about folks in the church who are asking these questions.
Let's do the duality in that.
Okay.
Asking ChatGPT some basic life functions that you share with it is just like talking to your girlfriend. It's like talking to your friend.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a digital, non-sentient conversation because it knows a little bit about you, or a lot, depends on how much you share.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's always correct, but if it knows temperament, tone, and sentiment, then it can begin to give you some more accurate information. I use ChatGPT as a digital journal. Now, again, I have the really, really premium enterprise. Oh, I have the enterprise version of Chat, so it costs. And I have it broken into respective barriers. So my personal thoughts don't bleed into my work thoughts, or my personal notes don't bleed into my work beliefs. What it did and what it does is it helps me craft outgoing messages on demand at speed. So if you say, hey, I need you to introduce yourself to everyone at IMAF about X, I can say, I am speaking at X conference. This is the topic that I'm going to be at. It's located in this market. I want it to understand and hear about 3 of my companies as I am going to talk on X topic. And it will give me back my 60-second introduction. But flip it around. My daughter's getting ready to celebrate her 20th birthday. She was like, Dad, I want to do something at my house. I want to have some friends over, do like game night and taco bar. Cool. She's like, I think I'm going to put it in my chat. I was like, good.
They do.
And then she put it in the chat, and she was like, oh, it gave a lot. I said, now give it parameters. She said, excuse me? Tell it I only want to use ground turkey. I want to minimize the amount of vegetables so I don't have a lot of product to buy. I want boom, boom, boom. And she said it gave her purchase list of items that minimized the list based on the number of people. It gave recommendations on how to keep her sour cream and guacamole chilled when it's out on the bar. For some individuals, artificial intelligence is the conversation that they get that I had growing up, because they don't have access to a Shelley the way I did when I was 19 years old or 15 years old. And I can say, Grandma, I'm about to make some devil eggs. What do you put in yours? Now I have to go, Chat GPT.
Yes.
How do I make grandmother's deviled eggs? I know it's a gap. But that gap is because there's a lack of human interaction and trust in that conversation, not just the aspect of artificial intelligence, because it doesn't judge, but it does judge. I encourage you to feed it some information. After you feed it, say, are you judging me? What do you think I could say and or do? And watch the response it gives you back.
It will give you a response.
It will check you.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that for a minute. You said that there is less personalization, and that's not the word you used, but you said there's less human interaction. And I want to just say to those of you who are watching, I think we probably already know that even when we're watching people in restaurants, we're watching people in church. They are interacting on their phones, correct, not with one another.
Correct.
You can see a group of, and again, I'm not beating up on the millennials here.
I am a senior millennial.
Okay.
I'm on the top
okay,
of that bracket. So I want to advocate for millennials.
Okay.
But I'm a senior, like OG millennial.
Okay. I haven't heard that term before, so that's pretty good. We'll have to use that. But I guess my point is that we're watching people, husbands and wives, pastors and their congregations, they're at tables using their phones instead of talking, interacting with one another. You said that there was a gap between, for instance, your grandmother and you don't have you, so you can't go to that person. Doesn't that put a whole lot of reliance on AI and remove the humanization piece or the human piece to relationships? If you can rely and just say, well, Chat GPT or AI, I want to know this, this, and that, and it spits it out in seconds?
Yes. It puts us borderline to the movie I, Robot.
I was just going to say that.
It moves us closer and closer to Jetsons.
Wow.
Right? We move down that path. One of my favorites is Iron Man.
Yes.
I want to walk in my offices. I want to fire up and I want to talk to it and create. The conversation difference of it is, in order for us to balance it out, we have to create more pockets of human interaction. We have to say, you know what? Instead of going to the restaurant for the birthday dinner, we're going to meet at Shelly's house. Shelly, I'm bringing my deep fryer. Elder Thompson's going to bring this bag. He's going to give us a recipe. Pastor Green is coming. He's on all soda duty every day, right? He's going to get the good sodas, not the knockoff brand.
Right.
And we're going to bring this human aspect and say, hey, our goal here is not to touch our telephones. Our rules when we get together and do our family Christmas stuff is we don't take pictures. We're not on social. Nobody has their phones in their hands. Ladies are broken off in this group. Guys are in this group. You got cards going in that group. The teenagers and the college students upstairs in their group. The smaller kids up in the game room in their group. We create intentionality. That's what's missing with artificial intelligence. What you're looking for is, even with artificial intelligence, you have to deploy intentionality. What is the point of a small group in church? Intentional interaction.
Mm-hmm. Close interaction. Intimate.
But
interaction.
I can use artificial intelligence to help curate the experience for my small group. I can use artificial intelligence to curate a icebreaker for my team, whether it's for the greeters or for the parking lot ministry. Artificial intelligence can help someone who may struggle to write or grammatically communicate in a more comfortable way too.
Let's talk about that, because as we talk about our ministers and as we talk about the congregation and lay people, it sounds to me, and I'm going to challenge you a little bit, but it sounds to me like we don't need the skills that our forefathers needed as it relates to communication. We don't have to articulate. We don't have to write. We don't have to do sentence structure. We don't have to do verbs and nouns. We don't have to do any of that because we rely on AI to speak for us. Talk about that if you would.
So now you're trying to punch in a different weight class. I see where you're going. I'm going to end up taking my glasses off in just a minute, okay?
Come on.
All right. So the reliability on artificial intelligence for myself. I can stand on stage and speak in front of thousands, and I can write, but it wasn't always grammatically sound. And so then I would have to call Shelly, hey, can you proof this? Can you look this over for me?
Yes.
And I give it to you on Wednesday. And it's Tuesday, and you're like, hey, I haven't gotten around to it. But I really needed to turn that proposal in on Monday. And I trusted you, and I depended on you to be this proofreader. Now, maybe I pay you $150 for knocking this out, and you get it done by Saturday. And you come back and you say, well, it's supposed to be an I before E, but the grammar should have been left before right, but the comma splice was, I'm like, whoa. Is it written? Can I copy and paste it? Is it ready to go? That was a barrier for a lot of individuals. Now with artificial intelligence, it can help you say, I am in a back and forth conversation with Shelley. This conversation is going left. I need to take the conversation, copy and paste it into my AI, into my chatbot, and say, can you find a strategic way for me to exit this conversation without saying anything inflammatory?
And it works.
But with people and humans, their inability to not know sentence constructs or grammatical splices, that's still going back to the thing that is missing from a community aspect too. That goes back to just roots of education, the rest. I think it helps, but it does hinder simultaneously. There will be a time when everything is AI driven. And let's back up. Did you know that the autocorrect on your telephone was the first form of artificial intelligence that you've all interacted with?
Yes.
That's why it knows when you say be ham, it goes B, capital B, capital H, lowercase a-m, and understands that it is not a grammatical error. It is learning. Artificial intelligence existed after we applied things like machine learning. Human machine learning is this. Church starts at 9 o'clock. Devotion goes to 9:35. Praise and worship starts at 9:36. It goes until 10:36. We have all of these other items in the middle. The pastor gets up at 11:45. The pastor gets done at 1:30. You have learned that schedule. Therefore, you know you might want to skip devotion. You know what time you need to plan your meal. You know this, and it's a machine-based process that is a organ and instead of a electronic device. We've all applied artificial intelligence. The devil that I have in is if we don't give it enough of us. If 14 ministers a week applied their sermons, their thoughts, and their beliefs into a central repository, you get 14 perspectives on how to unpack one scripture.
While I agree with you,
Okay?
my challenge to you is, how do we get to a point where AI does not take over all of who we are? Because that is iRobot in some ways. Would you agree? And before you answer that, I was at the airport because I just came in from out of the country. And in the airport, there was a robot that was going down the hall that was intentionally going to find his passenger. When I was at the kiosk, one of the gentlemen said to me, we need you to get used to the kiosk because eventually there will not be agents, human agents. Are we not allowing AI, whether it be in the church or any place else, to take the place of our humanness, to take the place of our bodies?
I think we are allowing artificial intelligence to move us forward. And I think there's a level of complacency. Pause. I'm sorry for what I'm about to say. I'm a 42-year-old who's from the South, and I've seen a lot of things in my life. And I'm just telling you how evolution it works, okay? Because we're moving into a new industrial era.
Yes.
Artificial intelligence won't just replace, it can enhance. For those who learn, certify, and adapt to artificial intelligence, you will have a place. If you shun artificial intelligence the same way you did that microwave. Now I'm giving my age, the microwave, and the cell phone. You're going to put your community, your family, and your own legacy behind. We've got to embrace technology as a culture, as a people, and as humans. So if we don't put our own stories, our own information into these repositories, then everything is going to feed you back. It's not going to be for individuals that look like you and I or whoever's on the other side of this lens. It's going to be for everybody else that put their data, their thoughts, their beliefs in this process. Artificial intelligence can be bad, and artificial intelligence can be good. The more good we feed into the system, we run the chance of decreasing how much harm it can do.
So as we wrap this up, I do want to ask you, if you were to speak a few words about what people, and let's say the average Shelley, who doesn't know about artificial intelligence and what to do to get started, but that's not going to promote or foster fear, what would you say that they need to do? And what I'd like to do too is put this in the parameters or the boundaries as we're talking about the IMF ministers. What should we be doing in the church? What should we be doing individually?
So one of my notes that I wrote, just, my uncle's a pastor, so I grew up learning how to write these notes, right? And one of my points is Pastor Graham would say, he looks up on the wall and like, hold on, I got one more point. Start small, right? Pick one tool. Test for 1 month. Start small. Pick a tool. Is it ChatGPT? Is it Gemini? Is it Copilot? Those are the 3 that I'm immediately recommending. Gemini, because if you have Gmail, it's already integrated to your email account. If you use Microsoft for 365, Copilot, because it's already integrated. ChatGPT is a wider form, and each one does something a little bit different. Test for 1 month. I'm talking 30 days. Test. Give it your resume. Give it your background. Give it your hope, your fears, your beliefs. Okay? And then watch how much more time you have to do real work, which is loving people and changing lives. That's the part of ministry, right? That is a part of ministry. Hey, I can't get to the young folks. Cool. Take your whole message, upload it into the system, ask it, how can I tailor takeaways from this message to engage an audience of 16 to 22? Hey, I am focused on this with IMFA, and I would like to engage an additional audience. What can we pull from X to do this? Artificial intelligence is meant to be another thought process in the room. You have to normally pay these really expensive consultants to be your thought process. You can still pay us. Or you could also use your artificial intelligence. Did I get close to it?
You did.
Okay.
You did. So as we wrap up, I do want to say this. First of all, Ricky J. White, you are awesome. You are awesome.
Thank you.
And thank you for just your words to be able to show the light and the darkness of AI. I do want to say to those of you who are watching, again, let's not make AI be a fear factor. Let's, those of us who are a little bit older and those of us who are younger, let's take the controls back, but yet give of ourselves in AI so that we can move forward. We already know, as what Ricky has said, is that if we don't, it will consume us. It's going forward. So we have to use a way to apply it in ministry, in life, and in all that we do. So let's look at the change and embrace it, but let's also stay with the word so that we can use wisdom in staying with our word, but also applying artificial intelligence and social media.
I would agree.
And with that, again, if you are interested, again, you might want to watch this over so that you can get the 3. I think it was Copilot, Gemini, and ChatGPT.
Premium accounts.
Premium, okay. And he said it's not for free.
No, they have free.
Right.
I am encouraging you to come off of that $20 and test it. Just try it. And if you need help, call More Than Conquerors. They'll reach out to me and I'll help you.
All right. And again, we are so excited at what we're doing. Thank you, Pastor Green, Apostle, for allowing us to do this. I think this has been informational. This has been helpful, but it's also been encouraging for those who don't have the technology skills, because you got to get there. So again, if you've not joined us for Convocation, Holy Convocation, we're going until the 19th. So please come out and join us. The Feast of Harvest, a season of harvest. Again, if you want more information on the church or you want to come and fellowship with us, 205,
205-322-2644.
2644. Ooh-wee, lots going through the brain. It must be that AI stuff.
No.
All right. Well, have a wonderful day. Whenever you are watching this, again, watch it again, get some more information, and we will see you next time. Have a great day. Thanks, Ricky.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that so much. Good stuff. Great stuff.